And hey there, good morning. I am meteorologist Ben Peine. This is your weather show for Southern Indiana and beyond. Ben at 10, Monday through Friday. If you're new to the program, we're going to give you that forecast right off the bat. Look at the current conditions. Then we are going to dig into the longer range outlook, 7-day forecast, weather jokes, weather history, all that fun stuff. Right around 10:20 is when we typically get into weather nerd mode and then dive deep into the weather models. There's a little bit of tropical activity that we're talking about. And if you're listening to this spiel from me, you're probably watching the replay. So thanks for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, feel free to drop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from as well. So thank you for tuning in here. Typically, right off the bat, you know who's dropping in the comments, and that is Beverly Haggis. Good morning there from Borden, Indiana. Can't stay long, just popped in to stay hi. Thank you so much for popping in there, Beverly, here, always right off the top. So let's right off the top get to a look at your forecast here as we have some hot and dry weather on the way. So we're talking temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees above normal through this week. Highs up in the upper 80s, around 90 degrees, dry conditions. If you did not get that rain Saturday night into Sunday morning, your drought conditions are just going to worsen. You'll have elevated fire danger. There are some Indiana burn bans in Washington County and around Paoli and Orange County. There's a bunch of counties under burn bans in Kentucky as well. So if you're thinking about doing some outdoor burning, you might want to check your local status there. And then we'll have, it looks like, some rain chances creeping back into the forecast this weekend as this ridge of high pressure that keeps us dry begins to break down. And next week, we may have a weather pattern change. The GFS is a little more, I would say, eager than the European weather model to give us some cooler temperatures as fall begins next Monday. So we're 7 days away from that. So perhaps cooler with some better rain chances next week, which, again, we all need across the area. Here is that play ball forecast. Sunshine today, right around the upper 80s for most of the area. In some urban areas in the city locations around the asphalt and the concrete, you might be talking about temperatures right around 90 degrees for this afternoon. No rain chance today. Any small chance of a little pop-up shower looks like western Kentucky for today, so most areas will stay dry. And just a very light breeze from the east at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And so a very simple forecast, more of the same, a MOTS forecast. More of the same is what we have here throughout the entire work week, pretty much. In second place in the comments, I've been seeing this pattern here. Orlean Whitlow, good morning there. Very dry at Hodgenville, only a few drops of rainfall recently. So have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you'll get some rainfall this upcoming weekend. All right, so there's the forecast. Let me go ahead and bring up, we got Lillian Lasley in here. Good morning. Love the turkey pick and the other pick. Hey, speaking of turkeys, well, I forgot I even had this. Here's the turkey video. Let's play that. I learned something new. It's a rafter of turkeys. A flock of turkeys is a rafter of turkeys. I guess it was named that because they sleep up in the trees as they roost. But we've had those same turkeys in our neighborhood. They just kind of wander from spot to spot ever since they were just little babies earlier this year. Now they're like full grown. I think there's like 10 of them, but it was cool to see them in the backyard. I let my dogs out yesterday morning. We have 3 dogs. And they were really excited about something, and they went out in the front yard and did not see the turkeys in the backyard, thankfully. So no turkeys were harmed in that. Orly Willow, that's a lot of turkeys. Very, very cool. Enjoyed it. Beverly won't be with us tomorrow. Got to take the dog to the vet. I know all about that. Our dogs, thankfully, are feeling better. Feeling better. Excuse me. There is something going around. I didn't feel good about a week ago. My wife got sick. My daughter got sick. There's been something going around. Sarah Humphreys, good morning to you. Nice turkey video there. Thank you for tuning in. And let's take a live look outside here as we look at uptown New Albany here at the corner of Vincent's and Market. So seeing a lot of sunshine. This is a look at the waterfront here, the Falls of the Ohio Foundation camera. just a few fair weather clouds, cumulus clouds. Temperatures starting off in the 60s this morning. Again, there's that look right outside Extol Media Studios here. And again, if you're watching, thanks for watching, whether it might be on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, or maybe Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube, and extolmag.com/weather. Speaking of extolmag.com/weather, let's go ahead and bring that up to the screen here. So we've got our live stream going right now. I'll hit the refresh button here, and there you can see we are up and live online. So there's a lot of different ways you can find us, again, on our webpage, extolmag.com/weather, YouTube. Thanks for liking or subscribing right there on that red. And of course, on Facebook. So there's our interactive radar, our current temperatures. Thankfully, this heat that's on the way, here's the latest 7-day forecast that I posted this morning, is going to be a fairly dry heat. The dew points that measure water content in the air is going to be fairly low. I got a little bit more about that in today's weather story that I posted right there. And your forecast maps, absolutely no chance of severe weather anytime soon. You can see the day 1, day 2 outlook, U.S. drought monitor, current Indiana weather and traffic. If you're curious about that, you can pop up the NDOT cameras across the area. So again, a lot of local tools there for you to use whenever you would like. And again, all those resources there at extolmag.com/weather. We've got a live report here of 75 degrees down there in the Litchfield area. All right, getting back out of that. Also, we will talk about from the National Hurricane Center. It is the very peak of hurricane season. We're starting to see some things lighting up here in the Atlantic. So high probability that some things are developing down there. All right, let's talk more about that. Again, weather history, weather jokes, all that fun stuff here coming up in just a second. I want to give a shout out to our partners, Lions Roofing, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. You can get a free estimate there, and they will protect your most valuable asset for a lifetime, the roof of your house and your home, of course, on both sides of the river. 812-294-3595 is where you can contact them. And if you want to have a job opportunity, they have an opening, roofing repair technician. Again, that is 812-294-3595. And Libs Paving here, the top asphalt paving contractor in the region and family owned right out of the knobs. And they've got some career opportunities for you. You can just go scroll down and you can see apply now. Each one of these lines is a job opening. You can level up your career as well at Ivy Tech Community College, right there at exit 9 on I-65, 9 miles north of Louisville and Sellersburg. Just head to ivytech.edu, click on the Sellersburg location. And if you want to learn more, it's a good time to do that because tomorrow is Tuesdays at the Tech, where you can register here and get more information. There you can see how you can register for that. One-on-one assistance with getting started at Ivy Tech, registering for classes, career development, paying for college. And this is my opinion, but I really do think these, you can see the 42 programs offered in the future with AI, whatever that's going to do over the next 5 years. I really think these trades, these 2-year certifications are going to be incredibly important for our workforce as a country, really. So powering the workforce is Ivy Tech here in Southern Indiana. And a shout out also to Michael Long, my insurance agent. Tell him that I sent you. You can head to 812-578-3072. Call that number or head to amfam.com. Put in Michael Long, and he can get you a quote. One of the few insurance agencies that has had a price reduction in the renewals. So if you want a quote there, again, 812-578-3072. And again, thanks to our partners for allowing us to do what we do here. And thank you for being here, also allowing us to do what we do here. So we're about to dig into that forecast here. Let me go ahead and I'm directing traffic here on our little program. So here we go. There we go. Also, if you ever want to contact me, got a weather question, want to connect, Ben at extolmag.com, or if you want some advertising and marketing solutions, want to see your logo on our products, we can help out with that with marketing and advertising solutions and being your Southern Indiana megaphone and beyond. Just give us a shout there, Ben at extolmag.com. Our weather headlines here as we start to dig into the forecast. Hot and dry pattern this week. Weekend rain chances. We'll look at the long range data here in just a second, and perhaps cooler as fall begins next week. We've got Christian Walker popping in the comments here. It's birthday week, birthday on Thursday. Happy early birthday. We got 70 degrees in Carmel, Indiana, and sunshine. And this week is Wednesdays with Weddington. So we'll have Brad on this Wednesday. So your play ball forecast, 89 degrees this afternoon, I'll call it seasonably hot, for this time of the year. And we'll take a look at maybe some of those weather changes in our long range outlook here in just a moment. Again, typically around 10:20, we'll look into that weather model data. Stupid weather jokes for today. These are probably on the stupider side. But here we go. I heard Humpty Dumpty had a great summer, but he had a horrible fall. That's kind of good timing since we're heading into fall. What do clouds do when they become rich? They make it rain. All right. If the orchestra plays in a thunderstorm, who's most likely to get struck by lightning? Of course, the conductor. Those are your weather jokes for the September the 15th. You're welcome. All right, moving on to today's weather history. 1945, hurricane entered South Florida with 170-mile-per-hour winds, doing a lot of damage there. 1988, long-track tornado struck South Africa. This is weather history around the world here. 1989, Princess, a Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance airplane, was nearly lost as it went into the eye of Hurricane Hugo in an apparent tornado-like vortex. Lost one of its engines. Thankfully, the crew found a weaker spot in the eye wall and escaped. So there you go. Christian, the weekend wasn't too bad. Had a tennis tournament up in Columbus, Indiana. My son did. Brought my daughter home from IU because she wasn't feeling good. But other than that, clean the garage finally, and clean the septic filter, which is not a fun job. How was your weekend? It was all right. It was an all right weekend, but the weather was nice and we got some rain, and so that's good. The countdown continues. Autumn begins in 7 days. Our average high is in the 60s in just over a month. And Halloween in 46 days. You know what happens right after Halloween? The time change. And we'll have like 5:30 p.m. sunsets. Average first flurries right after that in about 61 days, right around late November typically is when we get our first flurries. The allergy report remains high here with ragweed, the main pollinator, the main thing to blame out there. And the forecast summary today, 89 degrees for that high temperature. And good to hear, Christian, that you had a great weekend. Sunny and hot. Humidity stays fairly low. East wind at around 5 to 10. Our sunset at 7:50. Tonight's low 65 degrees. So clear and mild, calm conditions. Sunset at 7:25. Tomorrow's forecast for your Tuesday, September the 16th. A lot like today. Sunshine, upper 80s. Normal high is 82. So we're running about 5 to 10 degrees above normal this week. And here is that 7-day forecast. You're probably noticing the darker mornings because of the later sunrises at 7:25 and the earlier sunsets now at 7:50. So upper 80s to around 90 degrees for the rest of the work week. I've got just a 20% chance of a shower Friday, and then about a 30% chance of maybe some pop-up showers and thunderstorms as, again, this ridge of high pressure that's over us begins to weaken and break down a little bit. And those will be some much needed rain chances back on the way for this weekend. So there we go. Now let me go ahead and take that out, bring this back up. And again, talking about the peak of hurricane season, some activity here. There is a tropical wave over the central tropical Atlantic, producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. The disturbance will begin to move into a more favorable environment for development over the next couple of days. A tropical depression is likely to form middle to latter part of this week as the system moves west-northwest. Thankfully, we haven't had any major impacts from the tropics so far this year. And of course, we would like to keep it that way as well. All right. So we'll actually look at the GFS and see what that does with that tropical wave. And here's a look at the live radar and satellites and the loop of it here. We can go and bring this up full screen. Very quiet conditions over our region. Closest rain chances down in Mississippi or up to the northwest. A low pressure system over the northern plains and the northern Midwest. And then there's a coastal low there over North Carolina. So expand out our view even more. There's a tropical system off of Baja California. They've been busy out there. And then here's this tropical low out here in the Atlantic that is Invest in 92L. So we'll see what happens with that. The spaghetti plots, the weather models are kind of all over the place with that right now. So there is the current situation across the region. And we'll go ahead and bring up the weather models. Here as it's 10:15, a little early, a few minutes early as we dig into the weather model data. All right, let's bring up first just the future radar, which should show maybe a little pop-up shower western Kentucky today, but this is the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. I'll take this into the afternoon. All right, so this is 2 p.m. today, 3 p.m. Yeah, there's really not much popping up. So this is 4, 5 o'clock today. It shows the activity here in western Kentucky and like a little blip or two south of Louisville. But again, most areas, I don't think we'll see clouds really growing big enough for a shower over most of our viewing area here. Happy to answer that question there for you, Christian. Thanks for, again, tuning in here. Let's get into, so that's today. That's the only high resolution weather model really we need to take a look at. The HER weather model, the HRRR for today, for your September 15th, is also mainly dry across the area. So there's not much to show with the high res stuff here for the rest of the work week. So we need to actually go ahead and go into the GFS high res model. And first, I want to take a look at the precipitable water because this will, whoa, kind of a hyper zoom there. I was just going to see what it does with this tropical wave out in the Atlantic. I'm going to go ahead a couple days here to the, I don't know, let's go to the 17th. So there's that tropical wave. Remember, the National Hurricane Center says this is supposed to become a tropical depression over the next couple of days. So that's the wave that we're watching here with the GFS weather model. We'll go ahead a couple more days to the 20th. The 20th is Saturday. Let's go 19th first. See if it's growing into something. So it looks like it's there, still out in the middle of the Atlantic. Maybe it's a slow mover. All right, let's go to the 21st, which is Sunday, our last day of summer. And I'm just checking out the tropics here. There it is, growing in strength. Perhaps we've got a tropical system there. So that is Sunday. Let's go a couple more days ahead to the 23rd. So that will be Tuesday next week. And it's got it out there. So maybe once again, we will not be impacted, the United States, by that potential development in the tropics. All right, let me go ahead and go back here. And so next week, I'm going to bring up the dew points. So this is next week. If you remember last week, we were talking about right around when fall begins, 22nd, maybe we'll have that Canadian air dropping down, crashing into our area once again, give us some cooler temperatures. Well, it's kind of slowed it down. The GFS has by a couple days. So this has, like, right now, the latest has that drier air moving in, middle of next week, 24th, maybe next Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. That would be the nice low dew points across the area, the very nice dry air, and the temperatures. It's teasing us with a cool down, the GFS is. The Euro seems to be a little bit slower with this weather pattern change, both to give us better rain chances, which we need across the area next week. But so this is the 24th of September. That would be next Wednesday. So we'll see if as fall begins, we get a little weather pattern change in here. Good morning to you all. You have to help me out with how to say your name. Mounted. True. Thanksgiving is approaching. Yes. Fall things are getting closer and closer, knocking on our door. We've got Vicki Berger from beautiful Salem, Indiana. We've passed by there quite often nowadays, visiting and bringing Hannah back home sometimes from IU. So there you go. There is a look at perhaps a cool down next week per the GFS weather model. Also, it's kind of fun to look at the precipitable water. This is, if you wring out the atmosphere, this is kind of how much water you could get out of it. And notice that almost all of the United States gets controlled by that cooler Canadian air. This would be the middle of next week. Again, we'll just put it in the back of our minds. We'll see if this actually happens. A lot can change in a week of weather model data. But this would be the potential for a Canadian front to move through. This has it like next Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday. With that, will we get some rainfall? So that's a big question mark, as even though a lot of the area got rain Saturday night and Sunday morning, a lot of the area did not get rain at the same time. So let's go to Friday the 19th. It does look like most areas will be dry Friday, with the rain chance mainly out to our west. So this is looking at around 5 p.m. So areas west of I-65 on Friday, maybe a little bit better chance of the shower. The models have been pretty consistent with this chance of rain west of 65 on Friday. So that's starting to see a little better chance of rain there. As we go into our Saturday, the 20th, our last Saturday of summertime, it's got a small chance of a pop-up shower. Going to take this into Sunday, our last day of summertime on the 21st. And it also shows a chance for a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Doesn't look like we'll have any big system overhead, but with the heat of the day, we might get a few of those pop-ups. And just maybe a tad more humid as we bring up the dew point temperatures. Again, to measure the water content in the air, showing dew points upper 50s, low 60s. It's not terrible whatsoever. It'd still be fairly comfortable, but it shows that we have a little more moisture to work with for maybe the potential for a shower there. Okay, bringing back up the reflectivity. This is, reflectivity means just looking at future rain. And so that is Sunday, going into Monday, the 22nd, as fall begins at 2:19 p.m. Christian, I would have to Google that. But we'll look at that count. Halloween is what? I can bring up that countdown. Halloween is 46 days. Not too far away. Okay, so this is Monday. We're going to go into the first full day of fall, we'll call it, the 23rd. And there you go. We've got a decent rain chance. The Euro also showed a pretty good rain chance as well. So next week, perhaps a decent weather pattern change. That there is on Tuesday, 9/23, September the 23rd. Front moving through the area. There you can see the increasing chance of some showers and thunderstorms with that potential front. And then going into the 24th, that cool air moving in, and the front has moved through. So if we believe the longer range model of the GFS, perhaps it'll be next Tuesday, Wednesday when we start to see weather pattern change, perhaps some cooler air dropping in with that system. And then I'm going to bring up the Climate Prediction Center. I mean, it is really quiet weather across the continental United States. So this is 6 to 10 day outlook, still has us with high confidence and above normal temperatures through this week, of course. Curious if they will start to maybe latch on to the idea of at or below normal temperatures in the longer range. They're still saying above normal temperatures through the 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. But we'll see if that changes, if the models continue to predict maybe a little bit of a cool down by the middle of next week. And then speaking of how quiet things are across the United States, this is the outlook for severe weather. There's only a little 1 out of 5 area on there over Wyoming. And as we go to day 2, that goes to Nebraska. So about as quiet as it can be weather-wise across the continental United States. All right. Let me bring this one back up here. And we can just take a look at the current temperatures. So we have, comfortable nights and mornings in the 60s. We're going to be a little uncomfortable in the afternoons as we head up to the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. And there you can see the cooler air out west in the 50s. And then we've got more of a south breeze here over the midsection of the United States. So you get some warmer air there. We still have this east breeze, which is keeping us with this fairly dry air, which is good. We're just going to have kind of a dry heat in the afternoons, and that allows us to cool down pretty nicely in the night times. So those are the current conditions across the area. Definitely much cooler out west. All right, let me get rid of the little drawing there and then bring up the rad sat here at 10:26 on a Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully you're feeling good. We've been passing around a cold. The dogs have been sick. It's been a weird late summer something growing around. There we go. Christian Walker dropping in with the 101 days till Christmas, 106 until New Year's. There you go. So very quiet conditions with the radar and satellite as well. We can take a live look outside too here at Uptown New Albany. A live look out of Extol Media Studios where I'm sitting right now and looking at just a few of these little tiny fair weather cumulus clouds, but most areas are in the clear here this morning. Another look with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera as well, as things are nice and quiet along the waterfront. It'll be a good day to take a little stroll there. Don't see anybody at the moment. And then as well, if you ever want to head over here to extolmag.com/weather, we've got our live stream up right now. I'm just going to go down, peruse the big old interactive radar, which you can bring up full screen. Looking far and wide here. And you can also pop up the temperatures. So we are looking at 70s now after starting off in the 60s. You got some 74s, 76. Lillian Lasley came in with a 74 a second ago. So it looks like all the weather observation stations showing mostly 70s as we head into the upper 80s a little bit later on this afternoon. All right, so let's zoomed in real quick. Also, I posted the weather story if you ever want to check out just a little more details on the forecast, what's happening with the week ahead. I've got it posted there at extolmag.com as well. It's got to look at the Indiana, linked up to the Indiana burn bans. So this is the burn ban status, which it takes just a second to load the current Indiana burn bans. They've got this interactive map. So we've got Washington County, and then we've got Orange County burn bans in effect here locally. So those are the Indiana burn bans, and then the Kentucky burn ban link here. These are the current burn bans in Kentucky, and I'll just say the ones that are closest to us. So that would be, we got Franklin County, Henry, LaRue, Marion, Shelby, Spencer, Trimble, and Washington counties under burn bans. Hodgenville, city burn ban. So just been too dry, obviously, across the area, and we remain too dry. Again, if you got that rain, if you're lucky to get that rain Saturday night and early Sunday, which thankfully I did, got a couple inches of rainfall, things are a lot better in your area. However, there are a lot of areas that did not get that rainfall. So what does a burn ban mean? This says here, this is the Kentucky burn ban. Burning of forest, grass, crops, woodlands, marshes, that bans that. Ban burning leaves or debris, bans campfires, bonfires, warming fires, bans open pit cooking and charcoal grilling, and bans the use of fireworks. And welding may also be prohibited. Didn't know that. So that's, in general, what the burn ban means if you have that. That should be out very, very soon, Christian. We will let you know about that. And we've got Perry Porter popping in the comments. Good morning. Hot week is here. Yes. I guess, summer's going out with a little last blast here. A little left in the gas tank, I should say, for summertime. Coming up to 10:30. And let's take a look at the forecast here once again. In case you're tuning in a little bit later, let's do it. Which means I need to get rid of that and bring this back up to the stage. Here we go. Hot and dry pattern, as Perry was mentioning. Weekend rain chances, which we saw in the GFS weather model, perhaps cooler by the middle of next week if the GFS can be correct. Your play ball forecast, 82 at noon, 89 this afternoon, hit 88 in Louisville yesterday. A little bit hot out there at times, I've heard, at Bourbon and Beyond. I didn't get a chance to get out there. Had a lot of friends out there, though. It was a festival weekend, that's for sure, with Lanesville Heritage and the Gaslight Festival. The weather jokes, I heard Humpty Dumpty had a great summer, but he had a horrible fall. Good seasonal joke there. What do clouds do when they become rich? They make it rain. If the orchestra plays in thunderstorms, who's most likely to get struck by lightning? The conductor. Free weather jokes for you. And today's weather history, I usually post this on my Facebook page as well, right around noon every day. We had a Florida hurricane in 1945 that did a bunch of damage, 170-mile-per-hour winds. A long-track tornado struck South Africa. You don't hear about African tornadoes too often. And in 1989, a Princess, a hurricane hunter reconnaissance plane, was nearly lost inside the eye of Hurricane Hugo. Apparently hit a tornado-like vortex, lost one of its 4 engines. That'd make you nervous. And fortunately, the crew found a weaker spot in the eye wall and escaped. How many days until? Autumn begins in 7 days. That'll be next Monday. Average highs in the 60s in about just over a month. Halloween in 46 days. Average first flurries, 61 days. As Christian mentioned earlier, we are like 101 days from Christmas time. And the allergy report remains high. Ragweed might be the main thing to blame bothering you. And the forecast today, 89 degrees, sunny and hot. Humidity stays fairly low with an east breeze at around 5 to 10. And our sunset at 7:50. And tonight's low, 65 degrees, clear and mild, calm. Our sun up at 7:25. Tomorrow's forecast for your Tuesday, September the 16th, 60s out the door, 80 at noon, 88 for that afternoon high. And again, trending about 5 to 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And the 7-day forecast, upper 80s to around 90 degrees, mainly dry through Friday. Friday, west of I-65, might pick up a rain chance. Then a little better chance of kind of a hit or miss pop-up shower or thunderstorm Saturday, Sunday. Monday, as this ridge of high pressure that's keeping us dry through the work week begins to break down, that'll open us up to a little better chance of some spotty showers and thunderstorms for this weekend. So there you go. Pretty quiet end of summertime here this week. Let me bring this one back up as well as we get ready to wrap things up here on a Monday. I want to thank our partners once again here at Lions Roofing, lionsroofingco.com, and 812-294-3595. If you have any roofing questions, maybe see some shingles are messed up on your roof, you can get a free estimate here, or again, you can call them. They also have a job opening, a roofing repair technician job if you want a career opportunity. Career opportunities as well all over the place here at libspaving.com. Libs Paving, top asphalt country in the region, family owned, right out of the knobs. And you can learn more about their company, their opportunities, what they have to offer you there with all these jobs. And you can apply it right there online. You can level up your career as well, or get a head start on your career. If you're in high school, get that dual credit free. You're saving thousands of dollars for your post-secondary education. Tomorrow, Tuesdays at the Tech, you can click right there at ivytech.edu, Sellersburg location, and you can get help with getting started at Ivy Tech, registering for classes, career development, paying for college, and you can schedule your visit right there with Ivy Tech. And one last shout out to my buddy, my insurance agent, Michael, along with AmFam, American Family Insurance. They're one of the few that have had a price reduction in auto insurance. So you may want to get a quote. If you do, tell them I sent you. 812-578-3072. Proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer experience. You can just go to amfam.com and then type in Michael Long to get to this landing page right here where you can email or call. Again, 812-578-3072. And finally, a look outside once again at the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. Sunny start to the day. It's going to be pretty much full sunshine throughout our Monday, September the 15th. And that's what we're seeing live out the door as well here at the corner of Vincennes and Market. There, sunny 70s is what we have out there right now. Love a positive way to wrap up the show, which we always try to do, and that is Christian. It flies by quite often. You can go to I think NASA has a page where you can check out when it's going to fly by. Just look for a higher elevation passing to see the International Space Station, but it flies through quite a bit. And Christian saying he loves the hot weather, so you're in good shape throughout the rest of this week. And the final positive comment of our Monday here: have a great day, have a great week. Thank you too. If you're watching on one of our platforms, if you want to try a different platform like YouTube, you can do that as well. Head to Extol Media on YouTube, EXTOL. Type that into YouTube, find our channel. You never know, when the weather gets busier, we might be on for hours covering any kind of severe weather potential. And then we've got Extol Media, Extol Weather on Facebook. And as I get the comment out of the way, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine, on Facebook, and extolmag.com/weather online. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this Monday. So tomorrow, I think we'll have the weather jokes, we'll have the weather history, we'll have all that fun stuff. But I'm just kind of keeping track on the next rain chances and maybe that cooler pattern next week, which we'll see. We're going to have to give a grade on the GFS and see how well it does next week. And we got a bye from Christian. Christian, again, thanks for watching here this morning. We'll end it there with Lily and Lazarus as well with have a great day. We'll see.